Go. So, thank you again to all of you for joining, recognizing that this can be a little difficult to make the time, but really appreciate you participating in this way. So today we've got some presentations up front and then some topics to discuss after we get through those. So starting off, we'll talk about some EDA CARES Act funding that has allowed us to bring on some subcontractors. So Joanne, if you want to kind of give some information about that program and then maybe introduce James and Mike.
Thank you, Justin. Good evening. It's so late out, it's hard to tell. We were lucky enough as a partner with EDA in good standing to receive some CARES Act funding for the coronavirus recovery. That's specifically for that. And we were lucky enough to get two very highly qualified people to work on this with us. The first one will be James Dignam. He will be doing disaster recovery coordination. And the next is Mike Ripko. He will be our coronavirus recovery planner. And I am going to let them tell you what they're going to be doing for the next year, 2 years, working with Eastgate in recovering from this virus, economic development wise, and every way we have to, any way we can. So James, are you able to speak first? I see his circle going on mine. I don't know about anybody else's.
I think I'm up. Hear me okay? All right. Yeah, good evening, everyone. It's a beautiful end of summer evening, so we'll take it. This is a great opportunity for me personally to continue working in the general field that I've been involved in since I came to Mahoning Valley almost 7 years ago. With this particular grant and the work that I'll be doing, focusing on the planning and coordination, really to develop a disaster recovery and resiliency plan. Of course, being focused on CARES, it's on the pandemic recovery and resiliency, but it's also consistent with the work that Eastgate has done in the SEDS. And it's about getting out and working with all the communities that are out there, starting with the counties, then working your way down through the cities, villages, and townships of what they have for their disaster plans, and getting not just a county-wide plan, but a regional plan that encompasses all the work that's been done of all the communities, in our three counties. Uh, Implementing economic recovery and resiliency plans uh, with the goal of rebuilding resilient and sustainable communities throughout the three counties is the end result. And for me, I see this as being about 10 to 12 month long process, and getting out there and seeing what do we have, what do we need to update, what did we implement during the pandemic, whether that's our city or combined health districts or county health districts, as well as moving on into our uh, local disaster agencies. Each county operates a little bit differently, but taking that and working with our local disaster response community. So ultimately having a disaster recovery plan that focuses on all three counties from Ashtabula, Trumbull, and Mahoning, and having something consolidated, concise, that talks to each other. And obviously with all planning, this is a ongoing effort. This is an iterative process to get there, and at some point, we review these plans, update these plans, and doing that in coordination in conjunction with the SEDS is going to be our vehicle. So, looking forward to working with everyone, and should be a fun and interesting time in the next 12 months.
Thank you, James. I'm really excited about getting started and seeing where that takes us. I think it's something that we definitely need, and it'll be very useful. And then the next is Mike Ripko. I'm thinking Mike's on the line, correct?
Looks like he's muted.
Are you muted, Mike?
Yes, thanks, Joanne, and hello, everyone. Just as a bit of background, you may have seen me around Eastgate a lot. And my light looks green.
We can hear you. You're good.
Yes.
Good. Okay, well, I'll continue. You've seen me around Eastgate a lot because I've been working with Youngstown State University for about the last 11 years, and in particular, in the last few years in economic development and collaborating with Eastgate on the Build Grant and on grants to help remove the dams from the Mahoning River, improve the environment. I elected to retire from YSU on July 1st. Had a great summer, but it's September and I really need to get back to school or back to work as the weather turns. And the opportunity to work with the good folks at Eastgate, you can't pass it up. They're just a wonderful team and they've been very gracious in welcoming me and James back into economic development. So the opportunity that I have is to help promote, outline, build collaborations to take advantage of federal coronavirus relief funding. As I understand it, there's about $200 million available regionally, and that's a matter of several states. And it's my goal to make sure that the Mahoning Valley gets at least our fair share, more than our fair share of those funds. The type of projects could be infrastructure. We could be doing utilities or roadways, water towers, things that'll attract companies to the Mahoning Valley, things that'll help companies expand, or ideas where we can do job training and make our workforce more ready for those companies that are looking for a good landing spot. We know infrastructure and skilled workforce are two ingredients. The third is quality of life. Well, these funds are intended for infrastructure or workforce development to attract specific clients. Today's the third. I've had several good meetings already with area constituents and partners. We want to take advantage of this opportunity for the Mahoning Valley, Ashtabula, Trumbull, Mahoning County. I need to get to know Ashtabula a bit better, candidly. I'm a Mahoning County guy, a Trumbull County resident. So I have to get up to Ashtabula County more, and I'm committed to doing so. In fact, I went up there Sunday on a wine drinking expedition just to try it out. But I'm committed to success and look forward to working with all of you.
Thank you, Mike. I'm very excited. I can't wait to see what projects we come up with to help the whole region. And Justin, I have one more thing I'd like to announce. We got word today that we received our grant for our broadband feasibility study for Mahoning, Trumbull, and Ashtabula counties. We just got word today, so we got to go in and accept the grant and do all the paperwork. But I'm thinking that the next meeting, Mark could report on it. And hopefully he can report at the TAC also and give you some updated information. And I just wanted to let everybody know that. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, certainly. Does anybody have any initial questions for James or Mike or Joanne about kind of what they'll be working on in the economic development realm as it relates to coronavirus recovery?
Mike, on the
Yeah.
on the EDA, is what's the max per project? Is that still 5 million?
So I'll have to dig into it, but I think it's several $1 million. They listed a range of typical projects. What we've been encouraged to do is float ideas past the EDA regional rep, and I think they're going to base our limit based on the impact of that project. So if we've got a real winner with a firm commitment of jobs, I'm guessing that they're going to be flexible, but there'll be a range, yeah.
Yeah, he's correct on that. They'll go over the 5 if it's a regional, it has a big impact on the region, a lot of job creations. They're going to look at them as individual projects. The other beauty about this grant is our normal EDA grants are 100% match. It's a 50-50. These are 80-20. So that's huge. That's a big difference in what we normally have with our EDA grants. And being a lot of our area, Mahoning and Trumbull County, and there is some in Ashtabula and opportunity zones, that helps also. And I know Mike will know a lot more in a month from now.
Oh, for sure. I'll do some
because
studying.
he just signed the contract to join us on Monday.
You see my name there, but my email address at Eastgate is mhripko, HRIPKO, at eastgatecog.org. And maybe if we include that in the minutes, then our attendees and those who couldn't make it today will know how to get a hold of me.
Excellent. Well, thank you three for filling us in on that information, and we look forward to hearing more as we make some progress on that program. So up next, we have a highlight, a special guest talking about some community programs. So I'll turn it over to Leah. You can introduce yourself and let us know about the programs you work with.
Thank you. I appreciate you giving me some time to talk to everyone today. So I am with the Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, RSVP, and the Senior Support Action Group. RSVP is a national service program for individuals 55 and better who want to volunteer in their community. If you're familiar with AmeriCorps, Senior Corps is kind of the sister program for that, but again, specifically designed for individuals 55 and better. RSVP, my job in a nutshell with that is to take the volunteer what their interests are, look at their schedule, see what they want to do, and then match them with a nonprofit school or health agency that needs volunteers. So kind of like a volunteer matchmaker in essence. Typically during summer, we have a lot of community events for those who like to do sort of those one-day things. Obviously, the summer has not been as busy. We do, out of our RSP office, operate a transportation leadership program, and we've been able to work under the umbrella of the Senior Support Action Group. The Action Group initially started in April as a response to the pandemic, looking at how can we help our seniors, specifically those who are homebound, disabled, or any person who lacks transportation or is immunocompromised with getting access to food. First, we thought we would be going to the grocery store for people. I got an overwhelming amount of calls for folks who are of lower income, who might otherwise have gone to a food bank or food pantry, or pre-pandemic still had this issue with food access because they aren't able to get out of their home to get the food. And so what it is now, 5-6 months later, is every Thursday morning, Gleaner's Food Bank Gleaner's Food Bank brings us a truck of food. My volunteers and I unload it, package it up. Volunteer drivers show up, and they deliver it to the homes of those who need that food. We're currently up to 200 people a month. Usually it's 2 boxes, so that's 800 boxes a month because we get it to them twice a month. Usually a box of produce and a box with like dairy, bread, and kind of other miscellaneous items as well. So that continues to grow. Mike Wilson from Scope Senior Services has really been helpful in sort of sharing his model with us because he's been doing that in Trumbull County for like 5 years, and we've adapted it for Mahoning County. Starting next Thursday, Northern Columbiana County is going to be implementing the same program in their area. Thankfully, they have sort of time to take it slow, whereas in Mahoning County, it was just kind of like, oh, I have 100 people, 200 people, what do we do? So it's been a time, obviously, always looking for volunteers. And the great thing with the Action Group is because it's a coalition of community partners, we can recruit volunteers of any age. They don't have to be 55 or better, though that's my target demographic. We've also, under that, run the transportation and companionship programs. With the companionship, what we do is phone pals. So a lot of them are those seniors we deliver the food to, again, because they're homebound. They tend to be socially isolated. You just check in on them, have a conversation, chit chat. They like talk about their cats and the TV show they watched and what have you. The third one is the transportation program. And so under normal circumstances, we have volunteers who will take seniors to the bank, the grocery store, farmers markets, and their medical appointments. So really those things that are needed in the day-to-day life. We are right now really kind of focusing on the medical appointment piece, since there are like Comfort Caravan and MyCap are kind of doing grocery shopping for seniors, so they don't have to leave their homes. So we figured we focus right now on that, getting to the medical appointments. I know a lot you can do virtual now, like the telehealth. But if you have dialysis or you need to get chemo treatment or a surgery, you're still going to have to go to the doctor. It has scaled back a lot just because most of my drivers are seniors, but we do still help those to get there. Our only limitation is because the volunteers use their own car, we can't do wheelchair, but we could take anyone else. Mostly seniors, but again, if there's someone who's disabled or just needs to get to that appointment, we can take them. And we'll cross county lines. The two volunteers who would go to Cleveland and Pittsburgh aren't doing it right now, but again, under normal circumstances, we would definitely travel outward. One interesting thing I find with that too is there's a lot of transportation services out there, but the seniors tend to get very overwhelmed because there's so many numbers to call, and a lot of them don't know how to, go online and look things up. So I get a lot of frustrated seniors calling me trying to figure out, did I talk to you? Did I not talk to you? Do you have the paperwork? Who needs the paperwork? Who requires this? Who requires that? So oftentimes I'm also trying to help them navigate that. But that's really what we do. Again, I'm the one staff person, everyone else is a volunteer. And we really love what we do in the community and helping our seniors and recruiting the seniors to volunteer. Thank you.
Excellent. Does anybody have any initial questions for Leah? I know personally, so at Eastgate, we run the GoHio Commute program, which is kind of like helping people find other people to commute to work with, whether that's carpool or set up a van pool or things like that. And on occasion, we'll get some phone calls asking about that specialized transportation to a doctor's appointment or maybe up to the Cleveland Clinic. So it's great to hear about the services that you offer, and I'll definitely keep that in mind as an additional resource to point people your way. All right. Well, thank you again, Leah. We will continue to move through our agenda here. So next up is General Policy Board. So just a quick recap of General Policy Board that occurred July 27th, which seems like forever ago. It looked a lot like this. It was a virtual convening of the meeting. Julie Green opened the meeting. We had our committee reports, the TAC, the CAB, and Finance Executive Committee. Jim gave an overview of some of the progress of the agency programs, and then Ken, our Director of Transportation, gave an overview of our plans and programs, mostly related to our certification review process, where Federal Highway and Federal Transit came into town, and I'll put that in air quotes because, again, that was another virtual effort. But every 4 years that happens, so that us as an MPO, we get certified to do the work that we do, and they make sure that we're meeting all of our benchmarks and doing everything by the book. So a lot of what Ken talked about related to that process. And then I gave a presentation on the Belmont Avenue Corridor Plan, which had just wrapped up. As far as policy board's concerned, our next one is October 26th. So we'll have one more CAB meeting before that. So if you have some topics or items that you think would be important to put into the committee report, feel free to think about those and bring them up to me before that next meeting. And we'll make sure that we get that in the committee report for the CAB so that we can relay that information to our general policy board. Next up is resolutions for passage, and there is one this month. So this resolution, it is 027-2020, and it's resolution amending the fiscal year 2021 to 2024 Transportation Improvement Program of the Eastgate Regional Council of Governments to identify safety funding for the US 62 Bedford Broadway intersections. So this was an initiative out of our safety program where it was identified to us as an intersection of concern by, I believe, Brookfield Township and the Trumbull County Engineers. So we worked with them and bridged that gap to ODOT to come together and find some funding through that safety program. So this resolution is basically just approving that to happen. So what we'll do for this is I will send out an email after this meeting to CAB members asking for a vote. And then we'll kind of go from there for that one. If there are any comments or discussion or questions about that resolution now, feel free to bring those up.
I was going to say, Justin, that's a very dangerous crossing there for motorists. If you're on that side road, which I think is called Bedford, and you're trying to cross 62, you're essentially crossing a freeway with 4 lanes of traffic, 2 in each direction, and they're going 65 miles an hour. That's very dangerous and definitely needs improvement there. What will that improvement consist of, by the way?
So this, I believe, is just a safety study. So this is the very beginning of the process. So this will, they'll collect all the data, they'll do the planning process to really identify what the specific issue is causing the safety issue. And then, they'll transition that into recommendations, and then we can apply for future safety funding to actually put infrastructure in the ground to resolve the issue.
Did I describe that situation up there accurately?
I believe so. I'm not too familiar, but from what I remember hearing said about that intersection, I think you are correct. Okay. So like I said, I will send that out to the CAB board members for approval, and we'll do the voting through email. It's a little easier than trying to coordinate that through this setting here. So as we move into announcements, there's a few things that I kind of wanted to bring up just to make everyone aware. We are nearing the end of this calendar year, which is a shock to even me to hear. But that means that CAB membership will be coming to a close for this year. So we need to start thinking about if you want to renew your membership, if there are other people you think would be valuable to have on this board. If you want to reach out to them and talk to them and get them interested, or if you want to send their information my way, I'd be happy to have a conversation with anybody you think would be valuable to have a voice as a part of this group. And along with membership, we'll also have the redesignation of chair and our general policy board representatives. So just some things to think about as we approach the new year. I'll make sure that I have kind of the process of how we'll facilitate that and how you can submit your application, and I'll have all of that ready for our October meeting so we can know what we're looking for and we can kind of move forward with that process as we get closer to the end of the year.
Do we have to vote on that resolution?
Yeah, so the CAB will vote on the resolution, but that'll be done through email. So keep an eye on your inbox.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
So in addition to membership, there's a few big upcoming projects that are going to require public engagement. And this is me asking you for help because I think this virtual setup is good in some ways, but also extremely difficult. And it's hard to have true conversations and really meaningful like back and forth discussion. So as Eastgate looks to develop their 2050 Metropolitan Transportation Plan, which is our long-range planning document on our transportation side, that encompasses our entire region's road network and really sets the vision for how we want Mahoning and Trumbull counties to look in 2050. We'll need to do some pretty intensive public engagement to set our vision and goals, to come up with and identify locations that need certain things addressed, or if there are preferences of certain communities of projects that the public would like to see the local municipalities occur. So what I will ask you is to think through some ways that we can do that creatively. So understanding the restrictions that COVID-19 kind of challenges us with, do you think solutions like this, where maybe it's a little more guided and there's more specific questions that we ask for feedback, do you think that's sufficient? Do you think there's other ways that we can kind of get out to the community and really get this type of information in? We've been looking into different types of mapping tools where we could set up a website where people could click spots on a map and leave comments that way. And so if there are things in groups that you've been working with that have found a good solution to be able to, communicate effectively virtually, or if there are, events that have been held that have successfully implemented, safety precautions, feel free to share those with me, because any idea we'll kind of take and see if we could fit it to this process, because this is really important. When we really want to make sure that we're getting that input from the public and not just kind of doing the bare minimum, glossing over it and saying, because of COVID, this was difficult and we just kind of had to skimp on it. So we want to avoid that as much as possible and really be intentional about how we're kind of approaching this. Uh, so yeah, if you've come across anything like that you see has been interesting or successful, please send that my way. Be happy to work any of that in and try and fit it to our needs. And in addition to that, we'll be working on the next corridor plan along State Route 46. So some of those techniques may be used for other smaller projects like that as well, as we really look to get out into the community.
Do you think a lot of people are familiar with Zoom? I know it's popular in the groups I'm in, but I don't know if other people use Zoom.
Yeah, so there's, a lot of these different video chat solutions out there. They each have their perks and kind of negatives. But yeah, if we may look that way if that's something people are more kind of comfortable with. We've been using WebEx just because that's kind of what the state recommendation was for security reasons. But if that's causing the barrier, then maybe we need to look to switch and see how we can really bring people in.
I was just on a state conference and they use Zoom, and they actually did do voting. They have a mechanism in there where, they tabulate everything and you got your results like right then and there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you may want to check them out.
Yeah, thank you for that. Yeah,
And I know we do, we plug in a member ID and then a password, but I think the problem is in inviting the people. So it's like, how do you invite the masses to participate? Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. Yeah, and there's a website called Menti, MENTI, which allows the organizer to set up these predefined questions. So it could be, rate on a scale of 1 to 5 how you feel about X, Y, and Z. And then all of the participants are able to go to this website and fill out these questions and submit it. And we're able to track kind of this real-time information. So we've been looking into that. But part of that is just making sure that people show up to the meeting, when it's occurring. So we're thinking about, time of day, day of week, all of these little factors that play into it. And, maybe it's just a function of trying to scatter and spread this engagement out. And maybe we do a midday, midweek, and maybe we do an evening, during the week, and maybe we do a special weekend session. So we're capturing people when they've got availability at different times.
I know we have here in Warren, a number of community watch groups that do participate, like our city transportation. They were figuring out what stop signs to remove and whatever, which ones to keep. And I got information through one of the community watch groups.
Okay. Do you know how they're meeting?
They meet in their backyard. Everybody brings a lawn chair and
Okay.
a face mask, and yeah. And then I saw another group meet on a corner in the neighborhood, and they were all socially distanced, but it was all outside.
Okay. So yeah, if we're doing public engagement, we'll want to make sure we get in before the snow.
Right.
Well, excellent. And if you think of any other ideas, like I said, feel free to send them my way. I'd be more than happy to investigate and really put some time into figuring out how we can do it right. But that is all that I had structured on the agenda. If anybody has anything else that they'd like to bring up or discuss,
Well, I also remember my husband frequently attended the township meetings. You know, various townships have their meetings, and that might be another way to reach out.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Well, I don't know if this would go along the lines of what you're trying to do, but I did, so in my unwork related, I'm with the League of Women Voters. And I attended a couple events where it was like a community walk event, and they had like different like organization tables, but like they were spread across like along the sidewalk. So like the community still could come and engage, but it was like very distant. So it wasn't like a big, central community event. So I don't, depending on what you're trying to do. And the league's actually doing drive-through events too. So, and I've attended some of those as well, and those are pretty successful in that people just drive through in their car as long as keep the vendor socially distanced. Um, those have been worked pretty well because you just need mass social distancing, and then just
Mm-hmm.
so I've seen those work. And a fun, if you're doing questions, Kahoot is a popular one among teachers to use. So it might be an easy tool to use too for questions.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
And if you do it like, you know, before a certain, let's say October, November, well, I don't know. Or if you're looking at next year, there's always the farmers markets too.
Very true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of those farmers markets are having like special like fall markets. Like I know the Awesome Town one is, that's my community. So they're having one in September 21, and Shannon, the market manager, is pretty open to having people there. So
Fantastic. Well, if anybody has anything else that they'd like to bring up for discussion with the group. All right. Well, then we'll keep it quick. And we are 36 minutes in, so not too bad. But everyone, enjoy the rest of your evening and enjoy your weekend.
You do the same, Justin.
You
Bye.
too. Thank you.
Thanks, Justin. We'll see you.
Thank you.